The Hague trial is a perversion, and it is wrong conceptually, morally, and in every way possible. I don't care who was bringing the charges. But in the case of South Africa, they are on the verge in recent decades of being a failed state. They're becoming the legal arm, in effect, of Hamas in bringing this charge. The United Nations defined what genocide was because of the Holocaust, the slaughter of at least 6 million Jewish civilians in Europe in the late 1930s and early 1940s. If what South Africa is saying is true, then no country could ever engage in a defensive war of any kind without being guilty of genocide. Once you start down that path, obviously you can see the conceptual corruption going on. The distinction is between aggression and self-defense. If you're going to kill a bunch of people in another nation, it can't be genocide. In fact, that's the intention of war. Even a defensive, legitimate war, you want to kill the other guy. If all you need to show is an intention to kill a bunch of the other side to show genocide, then no nation could ever engage in any defensive warfare at all. If the legal theory that South Africa is using should fly in the United Nations, there's an ulterior motive that's not being stated. Their actual motive is a hatred of Israel, a hatred of civilization, a hatred of Jews, a racist hatred, which is perhaps not surprising coming from the South African government. The Israeli government said that this is a kind of blood libel. The notion that somehow Jews just want to see babies in Gaza die. Blood libel, for those who don't understand what it is. This medieval notion by Christians that Jewish people use the blood of babies in ritualistic ways. You know where it really comes from? Tertullian, the early Christian writer, tells us that it was pagans who were making fun of Christians who really do symbolically drink the blood of Jesus. And they were associated with Jews. And so it's really a misunderstanding of Christian practice that caused this anti-Semitic trope. But Jews have been the victims of these racist tropes that have caused actual racist violence against Jews for over 1,000 years now in many Christian countries because of these notions of blood libel. South Africa accusing Israel of being an apartheid state when coexistence could exist but for the mystic-based racism of the Palestinian people themselves. But when you turn terms like genocide and apartheid against Israel, when there's no factual basis for it whatever, in fact just the opposite, then in effect it is the equivalent of like a medieval blood libel. At least the United States doesn't recognize any enforcement power on the part of this International Court of Justice in The Hague. Israel should be with us on this. Israel, in effect, by mounting a defense at all, is giving a greater sanction than these people deserve. Israel should denounce the United Nations as a whole, withdraw from the United Nations as a whole, and specifically denounce this tribunal. Israel has already thrown in the towel too much on legitimizing this illegitimate, upside-down, perverse International Court of Injustice.